I mentioned earlier the two extremes that went to the right or to left, one to affirm and one to deny. And I just want to say something very quickly that, yeah, Bismillah. Yeah. So it doesn't matter which one of these two groups we talk about. What I want you to know, that both groups actually, they were trying, at least good portion of them, trying their best to come with a rational explanation that's rationally acceptable, logically acceptable, and Islamically acceptable. So for example, those people who were extreme in confirming or affirming the Qadar, they looked at the text that it says Allah is the creator of everything. Allah is the one who everything happened, He is behind it. He planned it. So they looked at this text by itself and they found, if we say that you do things from your own and you have will, that means Allah have no control over you, or Allah is not creating you, or Allah is not, have nothing to do. And they said, okay, that means we have multiple gods here, multiple doers other than Allah. That's their logic. I'm not saying it's logic. It's obviously false logic, but that's what they think. They were trying to put Allah in a status which is high, put Allah in a status which is correct. Like they don't mean evil. They didn't mean something bad or evil by what they're saying. And on the other hand, the people who deny Al-Qadar, they also try to protect Allah from being unfair and unjust. So they say, why, if we say God created everything, that means He will be responsible for everything. So He said, let's free Him from this responsibility. By what? By denying that He created. So they fall in another problem. And that's the problem when you come to subject like these subjects. Subject has to do with the world of the unseen, with theology, and you approach it only in pure logic, in your own perspective only, and not take the guidance from the Quran and Sunnah. Or you pick one group of evidence and you leave the rest of the evidence. It will never give you a full picture. That's why Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they look at the full picture. That's why they came up with these pillars. They tell you that they are complement one another. And basically whatever truth this group has and whatever this group has, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah have basically believed in it. And whatever falsehood they have, Ahl Sunnah free from it. And in a class like this, my focus is also to understand, not to understand what these people are coming from, is to understand what Ahl Sunnah Jama'ah are coming from. So they looked at the evidence, the Quran and Sunnah talk about the creation of Allah, anything that Allah made in this world, and they found that comes through these 5 stages or these 5 pillars, that Allah knows it, wrote it, willed it, ordered it, then He made it happen, subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is another concept also the scholar talk about, and this is one of the most critical issue in the concept of Al-Qadar, which is, the scholar said, Allah is the creator of all things. All things. And when we say all things, all creations falls under 2 categories, good and bad. So all creations, it's either good or bad. Or another word the Quran used, sayyi'ah wa hasana, khair wa shar, evil and good. Okay? So the good, al-khair, al-hasana, bad is al-shar, al-sayyi'ah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of all things. Of all things. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, قُلْ كُلٌّ مِّنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ in Surah An-Nisa. Everything from Allah. Allah, the creator of all things. And that's include the good and the bad. That's why we say we believe in Al-Qadr, the good and the bad of it. Good, and pay attention to this. Good is from Allah and by Allah. While the bad is by Allah and from you as a human being. What that means when the scholar said that. So, Al-Ulama rahimahullah said that everything, give me an example of bad thing. Can anybody give an example? It's a workshop, so we need to interact with each other. Huh? Somebody get robbed. Somebody get robbed. Somebody get hit by a car. Somebody diagnosed with cancer. That's right. Somebody died. Somebody got married, got divorced. Okay? So, it depends good or bad. Okay. So, you have a bad marriage. Okay, I choose the wrong, guy. This guy was wearing a ring, the wedding ring, but he was wearing it in the thumb. Then they said, why would you wear your wedding ring in the thumb? You're wearing it to the wrong finger because I'm married to the wrong person. So let's say that's a bad qadar. I got to be married to the wrong person. It's a bad thing happened. Okay? So here we say, this bad thing, Allah is the creator of all things. That includes the bad and the good. They said, anything bad, it happened, okay, it is basically by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a sense that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who allowed it to happen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed it to happen, that's where it took place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created that human being, created that disease, created whatever it is. Okay? But the ulama said, but the bad things that happen, the reason of it is mainly from the human beings. It's not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reason behind it. So for example, that robbery that took place, yes, Allah created the person, but Allah did not tell the person, go rob people. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not order him to do or encourage him to do that. Yes, you might get an accident, you might lose a job, but there is a reason behind it. If you look at, there is a reason, there is something behind the existence of that, basically, calamity or bad things that strike you. And what is your role always to do is to look at what are the reason behind this calamity that happened to me. What are the reason behind it? The reason sometimes not because it caused it, but also what is the outcome of it. So why Allah allowed it to happen? Yes, it is bad in itself, but also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a wisdom behind allowed such things to happen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, there is a verse explain that concept. They said, if good things happen to them, they said this is from Allah. And when bad things happen to them, they said this is from you. وَإِن تُصِبْهُمْ حَسَنَةً يَقُولُوا هَذِهِ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. Good thing happened, this is from Allah. وَإِن تُصِبْهُمْ سَيِّئَةً. If bad things happen to them, they said this is from you. Allah said, قُلْ كُلٌّ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. Everything from Allah. Listen to how the Quran goes. Everything from Allah. Then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explained something very important. He said, مَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ حَسَنَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. If good things happen to you, it is from Allah. Okay? وَمَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ سَيِّئَةٍ فَمِنْ نَفْسِكَ. And if bad things happen to you, it is because of you. It's basically because of your actions. Because of the consequences of action that has been taken by you and caused by you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said everything from Allah because everything willed and created by Allah. But what causes the bad things to happen on the earth, it is because of the action of the humans. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. The corruptions, the evil, even including diseases, including natural disasters, and all these things, it's the result of the actions of the human being. You might be not personally linked to it, but you are part of that, basically, frame, part of that creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you might be included in that bad things for a wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has and chose for you. And that's something you will see very soon. So here, al-ulama rahimahullah said, when Allah confirmed that He is everything from Allah because it's created. And when Allah differentiates it because Allah want to tell us that Allah never intend and want something bad to happen to you. But it happened to you as a result of the actions, as a result of something else that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have allowed to happen. So the cause of it it is actually linked to the human beings more than anything else. And if it is not directly linked to the human being, it will be for a wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants and a great outcome that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants for you to receive, especially if you are a believer. If we understand that, that means that the person always be thankful and grateful to Allah. Because if everything happened good to me, it's from Allah, I should be always thankful and grateful. And if bad things happen to me, and I know this is something I'm the reason or cause behind it, that will let me always to be what? To be conscious of my actions, to always review my actions. That's why there is a plenty of narration from the early generations. When anything happened to them, they immediately what they do, they say astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Once Sufyan al-Thawri, his camel knocked him off, or his horse or mule, whatever ride he has, knocked him off. And it acted very weird. And immediately, see how the Salaf, he said, that's because of sin that I committed yesterday. I know that's because of my sin. And he said, whenever I have a fight with my wife, a fight with my servant, my worker, I know it is because of my sins. Aisha said to Muawiyah once, Ya Muawiyah, no one ever, people will start attacking him after they used to praise him, unless because of a sin that person committed. So for them, they understand that concept very well. Must be something wrong in my life. Must be something I have done. I need to review myself. If I see bad things happen one after another to me, when I see calamity strike me, that leads me always to astaghfirullah, Or maybe it's not I did something bad, maybe I'm not fulfilling my duty. Maybe I'm not thanking Allah enough for my health, for my children, for my job. Maybe I'm not charitable enough. Maybe I don't pray enough. Maybe I don't. So that's immediately make you think to review yourself and to improve yourself. And also to be patient. Because if I know this is from Allah, and I know that Allah will remove it. And also it make you contemplate what Allah want me to know. What Allah want me to understand. Many times, when calamity strike us, all what I hear, people pray for the change of the circumstances. And many times people, Ya Shaykh, ad'u li Allah, change my circumstances. And I always say to myself and to people that around me who ask me this question, I said, maybe Allah is not interested in changing your circumstances as much as He's interested in changing you. And that's something that understanding al-Qadr and that concept make you think. It's not about the circumstance. It's about there is something need to be changed in this ummah. This crisis in Syria, this crisis around us that we see in the world today, it wake us up. There is something wrong in this ummah. There is something wrong in the people. They need to be changed in order for this bad things happen to them to change. There is something wrong happen. That's why the economy is going this way. We need to stop and to change the course of our action. My company is losing. That means there is something wrong going on. I need to fix. So it's always something, an invitation for you to contemplate on what you need to change in your life, what you need to fix, what you need to improve. And this is one of the reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have this calamity to happen and to take place. So, if this is the case, and we're saying Allah the creator of everything, people ask, so what is evil attributed to in the Quran? How Allah attributed evil to what? To Himself? To us? How the evil in general attributed in the Quran? And it's amazing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attributed the evil in the Quran. For instance, Allah will say that He's the creator of all things, and that include evil and good. Allahu khaliqu kulli shay. But also in the Quran, Allah mentioned the act of the evil is mentioned in a passive voice, in a passive tense. Like what? Like, for example, you know what that means? Passive voice or passive tense. Like, for example, the apple is eaten. That's a passive voice. Okay, you don't know who's the actor. The actor is not mentioned. This is how evil mentioned in the Quran. Example, وَإِنَّا لَا نَدْرِي أَشَرٌّ أُرِيدَ بِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَمْ أَرَادَ بِهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ رَشَدًا. Ya salam. The jinn said, we don't know, listen, if evil was intended for the people of earth or Allah intended good for people. When it comes to good, they said Allah intended good. But evil, they didn't say Allah intended evil. He said, we don't know if evil was intended. They did not link it directly to Allah. While good, it was linked directly to Allah. And there is other example like this in the Quran. Also, we find in the Quran, we talk about evil. The Quran said, it is mentioned as an act of one of His creations. Min sharri nas. The evil of people. So the evil attributed to the people. Okay? Min sharri ma khalaq. The evil of what you created. So the evil is attributed to the creation, not to the creator. It's interesting. Also, the thing that the evil befall, like what? Look at Ibrahim alayhi salam. He said, وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ. He said, when I am sick, Allah heals me. If you want to be consistent, it should be, when He makes me sick, He heals me. But He didn't say that. He said, when I am sick, He attributed sickness to Himself. And the healing, because it's a positive thing, He attributed to Allah. He said, Allah heals me. And if you look to every single verse in the Quran talking about evil, it is one of these ways. You will never find in the Quran ever bad or evil things directly linked to Allah. They are linked to Allah in an indirect way. Either by saying, creator of everything, passive voice, base attributed to the creation. It's linked in an indirect way because obviously in the end it linked to Him, but never in a direct format. Does that make you curious? Why? Okay? Why? Why we cannot attribute the creation of evil to Allah in a direct format? Why in the Quran is all from the beginning to the end like that? In Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, also the hadith, he said, وَالْخَيْرُ بِيَدَيْكَ وَالشَّرُّ لَيْسَ إِلَيْكَ. The goodness is in your hand and evil don't belong to you. Why this consistent message in the Quran telling us that we cannot link evil or bad directly to Allah? And ulama said for reasons. Number one, because there is nothing it called absolute evil. There is nothing Allah made in this life absolute evil. Even logically, they said, some of the scholars tried to break it down. They said, if you look at the percentage between evil and good in the creations, logically, something pure good, something more good than evil in it, something good and evil are equal, something evil more than good, or pure evil. These are the logic classification, that's right. You can't come with any other category, it's just 5, logically. Pure good, pure evil. More good than evil, more evil than good, or equal. Is that clear? So, they said nothing Allah ever created pure evil. There is nothing Allah ever created, there is more evil in it than good. They said there is nothing Allah ever made, ever decreed, ever created, that the good and the bad in it are equal. Allahu Akbar. Yes. And that's as Shanqiti rahimahullah said in his book Tafsir, he said there is a consensus, an agreement between all the Muslim scholars, Sunni scholars, that never Allah ever decreed something, the good and the bad are equal. Nor the bad more than equal, or something very bad. There is always more good outcome than the bad. In anything, and Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah picked an example, which is the representative of the most evil thing, which is a shaitan. And he mentioned in his book, and that's not the place for it, but he wrote a book, it's called Shifa'ul Alim fi Masail al-Qada'i wal-Qadar wal-Hikmati wal-Ta'leel, the wisdom and the reasoning behind things. And he mentioned more than 100 benefits of the existence of the shaitan. And he said actually the outcome of the existence of the shaitan is overcome all the evil that the shaitan does. It's evil in itself. But by looking at the big picture, actually there is more good comes out of it. And I can give you an example. One of the evil things that you commit a sin. Let's say somebody committed a sin. It's an evil thing, that's right. That's evil. But Allah decreed, this is pure evil, Shaykh. No, but you know what? That sin have led me to go back to Allah. Have led me to repent. Have led me to say astaghfirullah. Have led me to drop tears. Have led me to fear Allah. Have led me to recognize how weak I am and how forgiving. Have let Allah to show and to demonstrate His forgiveness, His generosity, His willing to accept me, His willing to reward me, His willing to forgive me. All these, comparing to the sin itself, the sin is nothing. So when you look at the big picture, you will always find way more better outcome than the evil of the thing itself. By looking at by itself. It's like the ulama sometimes give the example of the medicine. The medicine in itself, it tastes bad. It's a bad thing. But the outcome of the medicine or the surgery is way much better than the taste, the pain that you have for a time, temporary time, because of the surgery. So the same thing, even if it looks in the first moment an evil, but the outcome is more. Also, the ulama said Allah never made anything which is an inherent evil. Initially كده evil. Even the shaitan was a good thing, then become evil. All evilness, all bad is basically something happened later on. But even you as a human being, Allah created you in the best fitrah, in the fitrah of purity, in the best format. Then you corrupt yourself. So they said nothing. That's why Nabi ﷺ said, in the end of the days, when this earth have nothing but pure tawheed and iman and faith, all evilness will be taken even out of the animals. It goes back to its original format. In Sahih Muslim and others, the Prophet said, snake will never poison anyone. They will play with children, he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and snake will never harm them. Wolf will never kill sheep. Lions will never attack animals. The evilness and the aggressiveness and the transgressions will be even taken out of this animal. It goes to its nature, which is peaceful. And that's in the time of Isa alayhi salam when he returned. What's amazing, it shows you a different perspective. It's actually the change that happened. And this is something beyond human beings sometimes. You can't come to this conclusion in your own logic, because this is something from the ilm al-ghayb that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us about. Also, most evil is directly linked to the human actions. Most, like somebody told me, al-khamr, there is more. Yeah, but al-khamr, Allah didn't create something called khamr. You made the khamr. Okay? It's not like Allah didn't create the khamr. You made it. It's your actions. You know what? The global warming that we have, it's the result mainly of what? Of our actions. The war and the people who die and the diseases that is happening. It's a result of what? It's a result of a lot of mismanagement of resources and basically playing with nature and playing with risking people's life that cause a lot of these diseases that happen. If you look at the corruption on earth, it is coming as a result of the human being's actions. That's why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the rain will be stopped as a result of the sins of the people. And he said, and that will cause the death of animals and birds in their nest Because he said, قال بما كسبت أيدي الناس, because of what peoples have done. So here you will see that so many of these, it is because, yes, those people died and for example, and drowns, and like for example, where I live, we had hundreds of people dies. Why? In one of the hurricanes that we have. And many people got, really a lot of evil things happened to them, bad things happened. It's just the result of mismanagement. It was the result of, a bad decision made by the leadership of the city where I live that led to this disaster. So it is many of the evil things that happen on the face of the earth are actually directly linked as a result of the actions of the human beings. Because of this, the ulama said, you cannot ever attribute evil to Allah as an action, as a name, as a link to attribute directly. It is linked him indirectly because he created the human beings, because he allowed it to happen. But he didn't do it directly, intentionally, because I wanted to happen. Allah never enjoys seeing anybody suffering. Allah never enjoys anybody seeing in trouble. That's not the nature of this Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you say this, the big question will be, what will be the wisdom behind the existence of evil? Why would Allah let evil happen? Okay, we understand now, but what you said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed it, but why? Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow it to happen? Al-ulama said there is wisdom relation to creator and to the creation. In the creator, to show the greatness, the complete ability and capability of all things. He show you the might and he show you the forgiveness. He show you the strength and he show you the softness. He show you the ability to give life and give death, give healing and sickness. It demonstrates his ability, subhanahu wa ta'ala, his ultimate power. Also shows his lordship, that he's the Lord. He does whatever he wants, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also shows that his great wisdom and massive knowledge, subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he makes things as a results of other things. And that shows, his knowledge and his wisdom, and many of these things appear later on to human, how that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it that way. And you say, wow, this was great lessons for me to learn. And you find this later, years after this happened to you. It shows a mercy. For example, yes, there is a disaster happen, but in the disaster itself, it shows so many mercy of Allah. In the disaster itself, you see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made that could have been way worse than this. And also Allah showed mercy by forgiving the sins or forgiving the wrong things that you have done. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala show you how He can do that, but He didn't do it to you, even though you deserve it. You see the volcanoes, you see the earth, the earthquake, the tsunamis, and you see, oh my God, Allah is so merciful with us. You see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make nation tear apart in no time and bring them from the top to the bottom. And you say, wow, alhamdulillah. Also, it shows His forgiveness, His patience. Especially when you see the natural disaster, I said, subhanAllah, Allah has all this power. And He let His servants live. Even with all the kufr that they say, with all the challenge that they do. So patient. So great, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, it shows and instigate many acts of worship. Many times when you have this calamity, that's what lead people to do act of worship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves it and appreciate it and reward you for it, like the istighfar, the tawbah, the tasbih, and so forth. One of the thing that is important for me more than this one is, which is related to us as a human being. What's the wisdom behind the existence of evil? What's the wisdom behind why Allah would let this happen to me? One of the things that always people think of it, that Allah make things happen to you as a punishment. But believe me, it's much bigger than that. Once I was in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, and somebody was telling me about the khutbah al-Jumu'ah that he attended. In Jeddah, they had a very bad rain. So there is about 13 people die in that, massive rain that they had. And it was a big chaos. So the khatib was talking about, he said, Walid, what do you think of this? The khatib was talking about, what happened to you? It's because of your sins. What happened to you is a punishment from Allah. Oh people, you have to wake up, you have to this, you have to, and masakin, they are suffering from the rain and the losses. Then the imam comes and make it worse for them. And give them lessons about how bad they are. And I said, I don't think this imam, his khutbah was muwaffaqa, in a good sense. I said, if it is about sins and corruptions, the area that affected the most are the area of the poor people in Jeddah. The area of the rich and the most corrupt part of the city was not touched, was dry as the desert. So if there is a punishment from Allah, the average Muslim, astaghfirullah, lose faith after hearing khutbah like this. He said, why the people who have all the worst corruption in the earth never touch? And me, the poor person, even if my sin, and I get punished for it? It makes no sense. And it's because of, in my opinion, that can be misunderstanding of reading the wisdom behind the calamities. That we always just think it's punishment from Allah. It could be punishment, it could be something else completely. And listen to what the ulama rahimahullah have got from the Quran. First of all, they said all calamities are test and trial. Are test for you. Has nothing to do with punishment. Are test to show what you're really made of. It's a test, it's an exam. Alif Lam Mim. أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون. Do people think that they will be left to say, oh, we are a believer, and they will not be tested? Allah want to test your faith. Allah want to test your patience. Allah want to test if you are true or fake. You're a true believer or not. Everybody is happy with Allah when things goes good. But when things goes bad, how would you react? How would you do? What would you do? That's the real test. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let this happen, to see what you will do when you know that your son diagnosed with a cancer. When you know that you lost your job. When you know what this is, bad things happen to you here. When you lost your business. When you lost your wealth. How would you react? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a test. So these tests and basically exam to demonstrate the true faith that you have. And that's one of the first things you should remember. If anything bad to you, you remember this is a test and I'm not going to fail that test. Allah will see from me in the time of calamity better than what He sees from me in the time of ease. Allah will not see from me other than Alhamdulillah. I say Alhamdulillah when good things happen and when bad things happen. Allah will see me patient, and my trust in you is the same when calamity happens and when there is no calamity. That's why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the test happened in the hijrah, when there is shaking, when Abu Bakr said, Ya Rasulullah, if he looked down, he will see us. He will see us. He said, Ya Abu Bakr, don't worry. What do you think of two? Allah is the third one with them. That trust demonstrates that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam made of nothing but pure iman, pure trust in Allah. So remember, the first reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make these calamity happen, it's a test. Yes, I commit a sin. It's a test. I looked at something haram. I touched something haram. I talk in a haram way. I have a haram relationship. I smoke something haram. I consume something haram. I did whatever it is, it's haram. Test to see how I will do. Would I rush back to Allah? And I said, Astaghfirullah. Or I will play the games and it's okay. Or I will forget about it. It's a test from Allah to see what you will do. Number 2, development and discipline. Tarbiyah. It helps you to grow strong. I'll tell you something, guys. Allah never put you in a test unless He knows, 1, you can handle it. 2, He knows that this will make you grow. I hired a personal trainer, okay, to help me exercise. And he told me something very interesting. He said, Walid, I have to tear your muscle first. I said, what? He said, if you want to really gain muscles and grow your muscle, because the more you grow muscles, the more you burn fat. Okay, that's why they said it's a good idea also to exercise the area where your muscles are not used the most. And the massive amount of muscles you have is what? In your back. That's why a lot of these exercise in the back, when you move some of these muscles, your leg muscles, you always use it. So it's already stretched to the max. But your back muscles, some of them, never been used much. So the more you use them, it start growing, you lose weight very quickly. It's a Qadar class, so I'm not going to turn it to an exercise class. Okay? So, but anyway, so he said, but in order for your muscle to grow, I have to tear your muscles. And when I tear your muscle, it starts growing. Yes, that's the test that Allah put you in. Allah put you in a test that it may tear you. It may cause pain to you, but no pain, no gain, we say. That's the reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you in that calamity, that hardship, that challenge, because He wants you to grow. He wants you to be stronger. I came, as you heard, from Texas. In Texas, we love fried food. In the southern and United States in general, we love fried food. So next to Texas, there is a state called Louisiana, known of Cajun food and all this kind of stuff. The unhealthy stuff. In Louisiana, there is a true story. In Louisiana, there is a businessman who used to sell a fried fish, and it's called codfish. I don't know if you guys have it in here. Codfish is a fish that grow up north in America in the cold water. Where's the Boston guy? Yeah. Okay. So it comes from Boston, and they bring them down to south. But he used to get the codfish down to the south, but the fish is not fresh. So the guy, the business owner, came up with this idea. He brought a big tanker and he filled it with water, okay, with the air circulation, and he put the fish. But again, by the time it went down to the south, it was so smushy and it's not good, because the whole trip, the fish are just laying in that tanks. He came with a brilliant idea. He brought catfish, big catfish, and he dropped these catfish in every tanker. Catfish are natural predators to the codfish. The catfish start ambushing and trying to eat, maybe ate 1 or 2, but the whole trip, the codfish was in a constant what? Move. So they always move. By the time they arrive to Louisiana down south, they're as fresh as you just got them from the ocean. And the guy's business was booming at that time. Sometimes Allah dropped these catfish in your life to keep you fresh, to keep you alive, to keep you alert. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you in this basically situation because He wants you to be stronger. Don't ever think that Allah wants you to get weaker, ever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants the outcome to be always better. My oldest son, Yusuf, diagnosed with cancer when he was 4 years old, 3 years old, a leukemia. It was very hard. But I'll tell you the truth, now he's 14. One of the best things that ever happened to him or to us is his diagnosis. It changed the course of our life as a family. It brought me, him, and his mom so close to each other. We spent nights together, praying together, night together in the house. Yes, it was tough. It was hard. Tears came down, worries and fear. But the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, never was there. It was never shaken. We never lost trust in Allah. You know, my kids today, because we learned through that process the importance of being healthy and stuff like that. One of the things that I see in my kids, unfortunately, get corrupted by the society more day by day. But you know what? My kids, alhamdulillah, until today, if I want to reward them, my reward from them is a fruit. It's not candy. They already raised this way. It's not like if you do something good, it's not about to give you candy, it's to give fruit. That's a reward. My kids, when they go to a restaurant, they don't order fries, they order broccoli. And every waiter says, broccoli for kids? They're like, what kind of kids are these? I said, these kids has a cancer patient who learned that candies and too much sugar, raise the chance of have a relapse and your cancer actually grow based on the amount of sugar in your blood stream. It's completely changed the course of our life to a better life. More conscious of what we eat, we process meat and all this stuff. We barely see it. It changed a lot in our life, and that's one aspect just I can share with you. If this never happened to me, I can guarantee you I would never think about it. It's just a wake-up call. We volunteer with a lot of cancer patient kids, a lot of da'wah opportunity was open for us as a family, for our community. So there's many things you never expect that it will happen. Allah wants you to grow strong. He doesn't want you to grow old. I was in Toronto, and a Somali young girl came to me. And she said, Jazakallah khair, I like your talk. She said, when I was a teenager, I was in Kenya. I was raped several times. I was humiliated. I was this and this and this done to me until I ended up in Canada as a refugee. Tell me what's good on this, Sheikh. Tell me what's good on the nights that when a stranger come to my place on my tent and grabbed me out of my family and did this, and she was very blunt, very open, and you can tell she was shaking, remembering all these bad things in her life as a young girl. And I said to her, there is no ever anyone, me or anyone, will ever say that what happened in itself is a good thing. That's an evil thing, that's a bad thing, and Allah will never let it just go like that, unpunished for those evil people. We don't say that the evil thing is good. No, the evil is evil. But tell me a little bit about you, young girl. What do you do? She said, I'm a master holder, and I work in the university. And I am basically, I forget now, she's studying law schools and human rights, and she's activist. She represents the United Nations, and she actually runs a program and a group of women who stands for women who are raped, and very active as a woman who stands for women's rights, especially those who have suffered rape by family members or a stranger or things of that nature. And she's continuing her career. And I said, I have a question for you. You think if you're still in Somalia, grew up in Somalia the way you and your family, would anything of what you're doing today will be exhausted? She said, no. Yes, Allah let us go through bad things. but there's a lot of people saved by your actions. She said, actually, yes. She introduced a whole entire program to ensure that the women in the United Nations camps and how to protect them and all. She's very active. And I was amazed actually by the thing that she told me that she was able to accomplish. Sometimes, and she was broken in tears. And she said, I never thought about it this way. You will be surprised. You think of it by itself, it's terrible. It's the most unimaginable thing, a young kid in a well, dry well in the desert, thrown by his own brothers, Yusuf alayhi salam. But that well was the road to be the king of Egypt. That jail that he was locked in, it opened the door for him to be on the throne and to be in charge of the treasures of Egypt. It's amazing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring the best out of the worst. يُخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah never ever, it's about tarbiyah, development, raising, helping. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Ali Imran about the incident of Uhud. Yes, it was terrible things. The death of the companions. But you know what? Was a great lessons for the companions. Terrible thing what happened in Hunayn. But it was a great lessons for them to grow, to be better people, not to be arrogant. ما كان الله ليذر المؤمنين على ما أنتم عليه حتى يميز الخبيث من الطيب وما كان الله ليطلعكم على الغيب ولكن الله يجتبي من رسله من يشاء. Allah will not let you the way you are until He basically separate the bad from the good. Let you understand and see the right and the wrong. Another reasons of wisdom, prayer and turning to Allah. Allah put you sometimes in difficulties because He wants to see you turning to Allah more. Allah wants you to beg Him more. Not because He needs it, because you need it. Allah wants you to come closer to Him. Sometimes He puts something in your life so you can go back to Allah and to change the course of your life. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala misses seeing you in the night praying. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see you more often in the masjid. See you more often reading Quran. See you more often fasting. Allah wants to see you more often, raising your hand and mixing your words with your tears. Allah wants to see this from you more. That's why He put you in that difficulty. He delayed the acceptance of your application so you can pray more and you can turn more to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He only delayed for that purpose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, there's many verses in the Quran in relation to this. For instance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَنُذِيقَنَّهُم مِّنَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَدْنَىٰ دُونَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَكْبَرِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. That Allah let them suffer the minor punishment so they might return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, one of the wisdom behind that, contemplation on other calamities and learning lessons from their calamity. Sometimes the wisdom has not to do with them themselves, but for others to learn. Give you example. I was interested at one point on the nuclear plants or looking into the news about the nuclear plants in Japan. You guys remember a few years back when the earthquake happened and there is leak in the nuclear plant? You guys know that this would happen in Japan. According to some news that I come across, they consider saved millions and millions of people's life. How? Because actually they found, because of this incident, a lot of safety measurements were not taken before, and it started implemented. For example, I read this about the nuclear station that we have in the East Coast in America, New Jersey, New York, and many areas. And they actually change a lot of the procedures, and they learn from that calamity so many things, how to protect the plant. So if this happened again, this leak and this kind of reaction will not happen. You learn a lot from other people's calamities. You learn how to prepare better. Sometimes Allah, yes, there is somebody suffer here. Yes, it's evil for that perspective. But by looking in the big picture, we learn a lot. Yes, he got a disease, he got a virus, he got a bacteria, but you learn a lot. After that, you were able to save millions of lives. If it wasn't that incident, we wouldn't be able to do other measurement that can protect millions of other people in the future. So one of the wisdom of Allah to allow bad things to happen, it's because He wants us to learn from it, to learn that experience, to contemplate on it. Yes, somebody commit that sins, but now we look at the sin of Adam, the sin of the son of Adam, we learn from it how to protect ourselves from the shaitan. I learn how now to defeat the shaitan next time he tries to whisper to me. So we contemplate, we learn from that experience. Sometimes we have to stop for the adhan. So stop inshallah for the adhan.